So in here in Azure, I have a subscription with a set of Azure services, one of which is the Azure IoT Hub. I also have my service bus where I will route critical messages. You see that I have a custom connector configured to connect using the ShareAspace REST APIs in order to get sensors, create observations, and add observations to the sensors. I also have the Azure function that will register a device for me in Azure IoT Hub. But we can start by having a look at the Azure IoT Hub itself. So navigating in here, I have my Azure IoT Hub that deals with the telemetry. I have my IoT devices. So here we can see it's the same, or these devices are represented by sensors within ShareAspace. So we can recognize this number from before. This is maybe our broken sensor or broken device that we're going to replace. So looking at the first integration scenario, we will be using the custom connector. So let's have a quick look at this custom connector. If we go into edit here, we can see that we have some general information about this connector. So I've added a ShareAspace icon, in this case for the in control configuration template. And I'm referring to the server where I'm running this ShareAspace instance that I want to integrate with. On the security tab, we can see that we're using the OAuth 2.0 authorization code flow. So I have a configuration here for the connector itself, and then there is also a matching configuration, of course, on the ShareAspace side, accepting this as a valid client that is actually allowed to authorize and communicate with ShareAspace. Finally, we have the definition where we can see that I have my different operations or the actions that this connector can carry out. So for instance, we can see I have my action for creating an observation. I have a lookup action where I can actually search for objects based on their identifiers. There is one action for getting sensor information, the metadata from ShareAspace for a sensor. And I also have an action in order to update the sensor in order to attach an observation to my sensor. Going back, we can also have a look at the LogicApp used to register new devices in Azure IoT Hub based on events coming from ShareAspace. So there is a LogicApp called Register Device. If we go into edit here, we can see that this LogicApp is triggered by an HTTP request. And I've set up a schema here for this request. So what I expect ShareAspace to pass along is the database ID of the sensor that I just want to be registered as a device in IoT Hub. And I also want to provide the soft type, the type of sensor. In this case, it's going to be sensor no matter what. The next step, I will go and fetch the metadata about the sensor using the database ID. And here I'm using this custom connector to do so. And finally, we're triggering a Azure function that is running code in Azure that will go and register the device in Azure IoT Hub.